Hey guys, MCU Collector here with the next video in the Hasbro Marvel Legends series, Wave 13, Spider-Man, the Demogoblin Build-A-Figure. So here we have Marvel's White Rabbit. So I'm not familiar with this character at all. It's an interesting character design, but let's face it, this is going to be the peg warmer of the wave for sure. Interesting figure though. We have some reused parts from other figures. One of the most interesting ones is actually going to be the M'Baku boots from the M'Baku Build-A-Figure. So I thought that was interesting. But hey, how else are you going to get the furry boots? Anyway, here we can see Spider-Man logo, Demogoblin Build-A-Figure up at the top. Here we have a look at the side artwork of the White Rabbit, and that looks pretty good. It is, again, an interesting character design. Here we have a look at the back of the figure. All the figures in the wave to build the Demogoblin Build-A-Figure. We are on White Rabbit. Next up will be Shang-Chi, and then we'll look at the Build-A-Figure itself. There's a promo shot of the figure. Let's take a look at that bio. Marvel's White Rabbit, a brilliant woman with a twisted mind. Dr. Lorena Dodson is the deranged queen of crime, the White Rabbit. That's pretty interesting. It's an interesting looking figure. Let's take a look at it. Okay, and here's the White Rabbit figure out of the package. You know what? This thing's okay. I looked up some images and stuff, and it's pretty spot on. You know, depending on the artwork that you see, the jacket could be plaid, but for the most part, it's pretty spot on. The really awesome thing about this figure is the Build-A-Figure piece that it comes with, which is the glider for the Demogoblin, which it has a stand, and you have to be careful on it. You can see some stress marks in here as I tried to force it on the ball peg that's here and really kind of bent that. But I'll talk about that more in the Build-A-Figure video, but that thing is awesome. You can see it just plugs right in there, has a spot, and then you can actually do it to change your height and however you want it, because this thing's shaped weird. It's not like evenly done, so it's kind of weird how they did it, but we'll get that out of the way. And there is the White Rabbit figure. Now let's take a closer look at her. Okay, so first I actually want to show off her umbrella accessory that she comes with here, if it wants to focus in. So it acts as a gun. So one of the cool things, and I didn't know that this was actually going to be removable, so the little flame effect piece is comes right off, and so you can look like she's shooting it. It's a little pliable, so be careful. So then it can look like it has that blasting effect. It's just a pink umbrella. It's done nicely, and then you have the handle there. So that is that. Now let's take a look at White Rabbit. Okay, so the White Rabbit up close, and this thing, the head sculpt looks very good. The paint apps are very well done, so that is awesome. It's just, you know, not being familiar with the character at all. I think she's pretty obscure. There's just not a lot of information that I have to give you guys, but I'll talk about the figure itself and kind of some of the things. So obviously the head sculpt is going to be brand new. With most figures, we get a new head sculpt. Most figures, because sometimes Hasbro cheats us. But the ears look pretty good. Nice pink inside, white. They did a kind of a furry texture to them, so that comes out looking pretty good. The hair's got some nice brown wash in there to give it a more realistic look instead of a flat color. And then again, the paint apps are done nicely. The eyes are painted on nicely. The whiskers are done. The nose, eyebrows, lips, it all comes out pretty nice. We get this bow tie here. That's just an extra piece, so if you pop the head off, you could just remove that. So for the most part, the figure is reuse almost everything. The only thing that is new is actually this lower torso piece. It is new. It's not the Typhoid Mary piece. This top portion is from Typhoid Mary. The jacket's been used a few times. A couple of the figures from the A-Force box set use the jacket, Photon and Elsa Bloodstone. So those aren't new. Same with the arms; it came from the same ones, you know, because it uses that jacket. But again, the lower torso is new because we get that clock that's actually molded on there. So it's interesting that they would do something like that, because what are they going to use this torso for? They're not now, but you know, a simple retooling, of course, to add in that clock. I'm sure they already have kind of the mold without it. So, you know, you could maybe a future Emma Frost coming, because if they do White Rabbit like this, why would they not do an Emma Frost figure, right? I could see that happening. Again, the furry boots are from M'Baku. I always thought the M'Baku feet were too dang small, and because they obviously had something like this in mind, so they wanted to keep them small to use for that. So there she is. Not a whole lot to it, but again, clean paint apps. Now let's see her articulation. Okay, so White Rabbit, she can look down a little bit, but that bow tie is really going to hinder the motion trying to get her to go down, to look down. Getting her to look up is really not going to happen either because of the hair, and we know that with most females figures, that's what tends to happen. You can get the shoulder to go up at that high. You get a full rotation there, single jointed elbow, as always with female figures, with the swivel at the elbow, and you're only going to get just under 90 degrees. It's not going to give you any more bend than that, so that's a little disappointing, but for me, it's not going to matter much since I'm just vanilla pose and stand up and detolf. Wrist swivel and hinge. She has the diaphragm joint, which is pretty limited and doesn't really want to move around a whole lot in there. I'm having difficulties just trying to get this thing to pivot on there. Like, I'll get a little bit of twist going, and that's pretty much it. I'm not getting any forward motion at all. Back motion is not going to happen a whole lot because that jacket's just really going to get in the way and hinder that. So it's severely lacking. You really have to work it, but you'd be able to get that pivot going, but it's just not a whole lot going in there. And of course, there's no waist swivel when we have a female figure with a diaphragm joint. She can kick forward that much, can go back a tiny little bit. She can go do the splits that much. Jacket really doesn't get in the way a whole lot for that. She has an upper thigh cut there, double jointed knee, which works out really well. Boot swivel at the furry boot. Foot hinges down, hinges up a little bit, and then you get a little bit of an ankle pivot in there with peg holes at the bottom of the feet. So not a whole lot of articulation for her. So it's a little unfortunate. You know, it's always nice to get obscure characters, but then what do you do with it? Not a whole lot, but there you go. She also has trouble standing. Maybe it's just me. And to finish out the review, I know it's a fairly short one compared to what I normally do. Here she is next to Spider-Man, as she is a Spider-Man villain. But that's it. This is going to be one that's going to be an easy pass. I mentioned it before. Let's face it, this is the peg warmer of the wave. Some people would be able to do without the glider for the Build-A-Figure since it's just an accessory piece. But, you know, it is what it is. There's always at least one in every wave. This one is not going to be any different. I guarantee you she will be an easy one to find, which is unfortunate because it is interesting and, you know, again, obscure characters it's nice to get. But it's just an okay figure. You guys let me know down in the comments below what you guys think of it. You guys now know my thoughts. If you guys like this video, please hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you haven't already done so, hit that notification bell, and as always, thank you for watching.